Exclamation everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings. It is currently Saturday night, March the 28th of 2015. It's actually very quickly becoming midnight here. I'm actually recording this a lot earlier than normal, although it will run into the next day. But I hope everybody's been having a great week. I have had quite the awesome week as far as games go and various other things going on. So cool stuff indeed. I want to talk a little bit about that. I also have two larger topics kind of that I have on my list here. One from last week that I hinted at last time, and also one from this week that just came up that I'll probably talk about as we go along here. But first, before I get into all that, as normal, I want to start off by talking about some of the games I'm playing and some of the things going on. I just finished today. Actually, today's been, as far as Saturdays go, my last couple Saturday tends to be my really, get her done day where I can sit down and I have all day to just kind of, most of the time anyway, have all day to just record. The problem has been the last couple Saturdays for, I'd say about 2-3 months now, not so productive at all. And so I've been sort of struggling to keep the same pace of videos going out. But today, I'm happy to say I feel like I had a very productive day today. It was starting out as being not very productive. I downloaded Forza Horizon Fast and Furious, which is a free download for, it's a standalone, so I don't think you need Forza Horizon 2 at all for it, but it's a standalone expansion for Forza Horizon 2 on the Xbox I think Forza Horizon, I guess it's wherever you can get Forza Horizon 2. I think that's an Xbox only thing, but I'm not entirely sure. I downloaded that, and it's free now if you download it until April something. I forget what date it was. I don't have it in front of me, but if you get it now, it's free. Otherwise, after this, it's like $10. But I figured, let's download it. I'll jump back into that a little bit, and I might as well spoil it. I pulled out the Elgato HD 60 that I bought a few months ago in the hopes that I could get it set up and start actually recording stuff from the Xbox 360 in 60 frames per second, 1080p 60 frames per second, especially like Forza Horizon, all that stuff. And I got it out. It's sitting on a desk right now. I plugged it all in. And, no dice. No dice at all. It was blue screening of death every time I tried to do anything. The pass-through was working fine. Like, I could see the Xbox through my monitor, but it was not picking it up. The software itself was not picking it up, and I was not seeing it on the computer screen. And then, shutting down a computer, it was just crashing with a blue screen every time I'd shut down or reboot or whatever. Every time I'd unplug it, it would shut down. it would get a blue screen of death. Not fun. Not fun at all. Not a very good introduction to Elgato. I've heard a lot of people have had lots of success with Elgato, and in fact, their software is actually a lot better than the software that came with my Hauppauge HD PVR that I'm using. My biggest draw to it was doing the 60 frames per second, which I can't do on the Hauppauge thing that I have. It will do 60 frames per second at 720p, but not at 1080p. It only does 30. It's locked to 30. So that's the reason why I looked at this, and I'd heard good things about it, about Elgato and all that stuff. A lot of streamers, a lot of YouTubers have mentioned it before, so I thought, this will be good, and the software looks top notch. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff to it, but it just completely does not work. It does not work at all. It's like, nope, blue screen of death. So that's not cool. Not cool at all. So I've put it off for a little bit as far as recording that goes. I do want to record that at some point because I don't want it's kind of a timely thing. I don't want to really sit on it for very long if I can help it. But I might end up, probably if I do record it anytime soon, I will end up recording it in 30 frames per second on my Hopage like I normally do, since that actually freaking works. I'm slightly ticked off, just slightly ticked off, because it's not a cheap thing either, and the fact that you can't. I mean, I should have known that something was up. Like this is, I ignored the red flags that I normally don't ignore. One of the red flags that I normally stops me from buying certain hardware is if the hardware is powered through the USB port, right? I mean, they tout it as a feature, but the reality of the situation is most hardware that is powered through the USB port doesn't work. It doesn't work well. And, you know, I have some HTML, USB 2.0 ports on my computer, and I tried it on several different ports, and every single one of them just, nope, nothing doing. But I've had some problems that, to be fair, I've had some problems with the USB ports on my computer before, particularly the front panel ones. So I tried plugging it in the back panel. Nope, still same problem. So I don't know. The only other thing I can think to do is try to plug it is to unplug the USB cable for my my Hopage, which I actually unplugged the power just so it wouldn't, just so it wouldn't be running while this was running, just in case there was some kind of conflict there. But I might unplug the USB cable from that, plug this one in that port, and see if it picks up a little bit better. Because I remember vaguely that I had a somewhat similar problem with the Hopage at first, and then I found a port that just works. Because some of my USB ports, I don't know why, but some of the USB ports on my computer are just screwed up. I don't know why that is, but they are. And so maybe that will do it. I'll have to go back and revisit that and see. But I had already wasted about, 2.5 hours on that, looking at their support site, which, gives you just the general, make sure your computer's plugged in. I was like, yeah, this you're not helping me, guy. This is not helping. So I will revisit that. But I didn't want it to ruin a otherwise productive day. That's why I only spent like 2 hours on it, or what I would have spent all day trying every possible combination I could think of to try to debug this thing. But I didn't. So instead, I punted, and I finished recording Wolf, the Red Hood Diaries. The little slight spoiler there. The final boss, really difficult. Holy crap, really, really difficult. And I had a feeling it would be, which is why I wanted to wait until, a Saturday to do it, because I had a feeling it was going to take me a while, because the next episode coming up this week, you'll see I had lots of problems with the platforming, and that took a lot longer than I expected or anticipated to do it. So because I just failed very, very, very often. So I wanted to make sure that, I I gave myself sufficient time to get through, because I figured I was near the end, because I knew it was only about a 3 to 4 hour game, and I was. The story is still very good in that game. I like the story a lot. I like where they went with the story. It is a bit short, but it is, I like what they did with that. That said, that will be, I believe, so you'll have episode 4, I believe, going up on Tuesday, and then episode 5, which should be the last episode, on Thursday. So it'll just be a little 5-episode jaunt, and then this is, that game is done. So that takes care of this week for that. It's a whatchamacallit, there's another game that I am going to use to replace that with once I'm finished, and it's it looks like a pretty awesome game. It's still, I don't know if was it early access? I don't think I think it's actually completed. I think it's actually a completed game, if I remember correctly. It's hard. I keep, I do a lot of research of games, off camera, and I play a lot of different little games, and a lot of them are in so early a state that they all start to run together after a while, and I can't remember, which way the wind was blowing sometimes. But I have another one that will be coming up after that, the week after that. It's I'm hoping to get some recording of that. I've actually been itching to record some of it because I did the research. What I tend to do is I'll download something and I'll say, okay, I'm going to do research on this now. I'm going to spend like a half an hour in it and see if it's something that I feel is in a state where I can record it, or something that I can do a recording of. It's not something that I just have no interest in. And generally speaking, if it gets through the half an hour and I'm okay with it, it'll be a thing. If it, it'll go on the list. If it lasts longer than a half an hour and I gotta peel myself away from it, it goes to the top of the list. And that is what happened here. I actually spent over an hour in it. And I had to stop myself. I just had to stop. I was like, okay, this, I don't want to spoil any more for myself here. And I want to do this, do it live. And, it's pretty awesome. It's given all the nonsense that Nintendo does as far as, YouTubers and trying to shut them down and not, make them play by different rules than every other publisher out there. This will be the closest thing to a Zelda game you will see on my channel. It's just because of all that Nintendo nonsense. I would love to play a Zelda game on my channel, but I do not want to deal with Nintendo at all. Not at all. This one, the last Zelda game that I played was A Link to the Past. So I'm old school. I haven't played Zelda in ages because I haven't had a Nintendo console in ages. The last one I had was the SNES, and then I've never had one since then. This game takes a lot of, from what I understand, and I'm taking this from what other people said. This takes a lot of inspiration and looks a hell of a lot like Zelda: The Wind Waker. Obviously a game that I've never played. So I am really excited about playing it. It's looks really cool. I like the mechanics of it. It's another platformer. I mean, if you know Zelda: The Wind Waker, it's, from what I understand, it's a very close close brethren to it. There's differences, obviously, but there's, it behaves much in the same way. There's islands that you go to, and an overarching story, and you've got sort of it's 3D, but it's like a top-down 3D view of things. And there's some puzzles, and there's some action adventure in there. And I like what I see so far. So that will be coming up on the channel after Wolf runs its course, which, again, I think will be 5 episodes, and then that will be done. So this week, 2 episodes this week will be the end of that. Also, a little side note on that. This was completely unintentional, but I realized, the one night after I recorded, or the one morning after I uploaded the last Wolf episode, that I have been naming all the episodes with just one word. And it's completely unintentional, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to continue that. So the next 2, I have to make sure I come up with the right word for the next 2. And I think I have them in my head. But I'll just continue that now that I've seen it, I've actually done it. It was completely unintentional. I had no inkling that I did it until I did it. So that's a little funny side note there. Also, I recorded today the April Fool's video that will be going out this week. As you know, I tend to do a special video for April Fools. It's not necessarily, I try to make it like a humorous, like a lighthearted video. Because it's April Fool's Day, you're supposed to be kind of, lighthearted about everything. I'm not good at humor, so I can't guarantee that it'll be laugh out loud. In fact, it probably won't be, but it is something different. It's something that I like to be a little bit different anyway on April Fools. Last year, what I did was I played Minecraft because it was actually it fell on a Minecraft day, or no, it fell on a Tuesday, I think. Now it actually falls on a Minecraft day, on Wednesday. But I played Minecraft. But what I did was I set up for it. I was playing on the LCM server, and then I switched over to a single player world that was an old version of the game, and it was an old save file that I had lying around. I actually still have lying around. And I kept playing as though I was playing on the server, even though it was clear that I was in an old version, and I was making like little tongue-in-cheek things like, oh man, I really wish that it didn't cost so much to make, glowstone. Oh, I really wish you could like have fence posts that, or have slabs that you could put at the top of the blocks instead of just at the bottom, and all those little things along the way. Just as something different on April Fool, something that I wouldn't probably normally do, as far as videos go. I try to think about when I'm doing, as things that I would do for an April 1st video. And along that same theme, it's not Minecraft this year, but I did record today a video, about half an hour, of a game that I wouldn't normally record. And just having a little fun with it, and having, taking, as the British would say, taking the piss on it. And I hope you guys will like it. It'll, if you go in with an open mind, it'll be you'll be okay, I think. It may not be the most entertaining thing you've ever seen in your life, but I had fun doing it, so I guess that's really the at the end of the day, that's really the point, I think, that I'm trying to convey, is that I'm just having fun. So that should be ready for Wednesday. I believe Wednesday is April 1st, if I'm not mistaken. So I've already got that recorded. I just have to render it. Funny thing is, it's an old game, so I actually had to play it in VMware, a virtual machine. So as far as rendering goes, the rendering time on this should be really fast because it's not HD. Although I'm going to render it in an HD format. Normally I would just render it as standard definition and call it a day. But I think I'll take a page out of other YouTubers' books and render it as a 720p thing with the black borders, and then I'll probably replace the black borders with some kind of graphic or something. We'll have to see. I gotta come up with a graphic for that, which is going to be probably some screenshot that I just overlay on there and say, "Yep, done." So I got that recorded, and then right after that, again, I said this was a very productive day for a change. I recorded episode 3 of Game of Thrones, Telltale's Game of Thrones. And that was an hour. Actually, that's about, it was like a full 2 hours this time around, I think. So I've got that all recorded. That will start up this week. You'll probably see the first part of that third episode right after this guy. They'll go up in the second slot on Sunday, and then I'll do the normal, everyday slot until it's done. It was a decent episode. There's not a whole lot of commentary from me during the episode because there's a whole lot. It was very, very dialogue heavy. I mean, Telltale games generally are dialogue heavy, but this one there was a whole lot of there wasn't as many choices to make as there was before in some of the other episodes. So it was a whole lot of just kind of sitting there and just saying a few things here and there, and then just kind of letting everything play out. So that was a thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just they're setting up all the threads, the exciting threads that are coming up later. But it was a little bit different as far as the other episodes are concerned. I felt like I was participating a little bit more in some of the other episodes than I actually was in this one. But it is what it is. And I think that's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, their season for that's going to be 6 episodes. So this would be, we'd be halfway through now. And hopefully they speed up Tales from the Borderlands a little bit more, because we've only finished episode 2 of Tales from the Borderlands, and that was fantastic. And I'm kind of hoping that they they spend a little bit more time on that and try to get that one, the 3rd episode of that, done relatively quicker than they have been, because it's pretty damn fun what they're doing. In some cases, a little bit more so than Game of Thrones. I could see in the Game of Thrones episode where they sort of just, I don't want to say cheaped out, but they took the easy road in some places. You'll know what I mean when you see it, where they decide not to render certain things just because I guess for time constraints or whatnot. So that's a thing that will be coming up on the channel as well. Also, this week, the Spatials will be switching over to Steam on the 30th. I will be switching over to the Steam version myself, hopefully, if everything goes well. I suspect that my save games will probably work over there, if I copy them over, but I might just reset anyway. And the reason I'm saying that is because, well, I know a lot more about the game now than I did when I started out. So I feel like I could do some things a little bit differently in the beginning. Although it is going to be grindy at the beginning again, because I'm going to do some things that I would normally do off camera. I'm going to have to do on camera because, I don't have anything established. But in addition to that, there was a comment left on one of my videos, the most recent video, asking, hey, when this goes on Steam, could you do this like twice a week? And my policy on that has always been, like, if it's still early access, I try to only do it once a week so I don't exhaust the content. But I can be persuaded to do that twice a week. The other reason I'm kind of persuaded to do it twice a week is because Wednesday seems like a good day where I could put another video on there, another series that's kind of more more reliable than my Minecraft series, because Minecraft is the amount of work you have to put. There's been talk of this recently by a lot of Minecraft YouTubers. The amount of work that you put into Minecraft is quite significant, especially now. The expectations are a little bit higher than they used to be. It used to be that you could just jump in there for 20, 25 minutes and just chat and just do your thing and do your caving and all that stuff, and everything was kind of cool and copacetic and everything was good. Now it's sort of like, well, no, we want to see all kinds of progress and everything else done, which is fair. I mean, even back in the day, there were people that were always doing videos that were legitimately, here's a bunch of progress that I made, and I got no problem with that. It's just time. Time is always a problem with me. And there's also a lot of other games that are really exciting that I like playing as too. So it's kind of a time management thing. Also, as a lot of other YouTubers have alluded to, there is quite a bit of burnout as far as Minecraft is concerned. I've been playing Minecraft since the alpha, so I've been playing for a long time, and I've had an on again, off again relationship with Minecraft because it does get, after a while, it does get a little bit ponderous. But even on like YouTube now, even like the big Minecraft channels, they're losing losing lots of views. They're not really getting the views that they used to get for the most part. And I don't do anything for the views, so that doesn't really affect me. But it was something that was on my mind when I first started the channel, because I saw that happening even then, almost 2 years ago now. But so I always made sure that I would not focus entirely on Minecraft, because it's sort of a dying thing. I mean, it's been around. It's long in the tooth. Let's put it that way. It's not dying, but it's long in the tooth, and people have pretty much everything that could have been done in Minecraft pretty much has been done at some point. It is still staying alive with the CTM stuff, and I'm playing Wayward Wonders now. Which I intended to play a while ago. I just didn't get around to it because I saw the posting about it several weeks ago, and I just I procrastinated a bit, and so I'm playing that a little bit. That's an on again, off again thing as well. So moral of the story is Wednesday seems like an open slot day where I could really use something that would be more regular. So I am open to the possibility of doing the spatials twice a week, on a Wednesday and on a Friday. So I may attempt to do that. I don't know if I'll do it this week. Maybe I will. It really depends on, how far ahead I can get as far as things go, because I can record that ahead of time. Even though I haven't been doing that, I've been recording it pretty much the day before. There is a possibility I could just do that ahead of time now, especially if I'm going to start from scratch again. So I will keep you posted on that. You will see one way or the other the results of whether or not I end up doing that on a Wednesday and a Friday as well. So that will be twice a week. Doing Cities Skylines twice a week, doing that Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm actually starting to make a little bit of progress in that game. It hurts a lot to watch because I did not do any due diligence with the game. I just said, you know what? I'm not even going to look at any of the tutorials. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to go do it. I mean, if it's as close to SimCity as people have said, then I should be fine. And for the most part, I have been fine. But there are head scratching moments that happen where it's just I should be better than I actually am at the game. That said, that will continue. That will continue to be a twice a week thing that I do, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the hell out of that game. So it's not like it's something I don't want to do. It is very much something I want to do, and I'm going to continue with that. I intended on actually possibly jumping into Soul Zero again for a little bit. There was a map I believe they released about Ceres, whatever that moon was of Mars that actually they think might possibly have some ocean on it, underground ocean. That could possibly support life. I think there was a map released for that, and because I remember seeing a blog post about it, but I didn't look too deeply into it. So I'd like to possibly do that map at some point as well. Although it's going to be probably a couple weeks from now, unless something comes up. I'm trying to plan. Not this week, but next week I have to go on a business trip, much to my own chagrin, and it's like right smack in the middle of the week. It's like I have to leave Monday night, get on a plane, and Tuesday, be all day Tuesday, and then Wednesday afternoon, get back on a plane and come back home, and I'll get back home around rush hour, which means it'll take me another hour or two just to get home from the airport, which will be freaking fantastic. And I hate traveling. I really do. It's just, I can't. I wish there were others that hate traveling as much as I do, because I could point to them and say, please explain why it sucks so bad. But I have yet to find anyone else that's like, oh yeah, no, I don't really like traveling either. Everybody I know is like, oh, I love traveling. Oh, it's so great. Oh, you get to see all these places. Oh, you get to do this. Oh, you get to sleep out of a freaking tent in the middle of nowhere. It's like, no, thanks. No thanks. So that's the thing. In fact, I don't even when I take a vacation in the summertime, like I do a staycation. I don't travel anywhere. I don't even go to the shore or to the beach to relax. I don't bother. I stay home. I don't like to travel at all, really. So that's the thing. So I'm trying to put enough videos in place that I'll be able to cover those days that I'll be just out of it. That pretty much means like Monday will probably be the regular video schedule, because I'll have those all ready and done and already uploaded. Tuesday and Wednesday will be the weird days, because again, I will not be in town. So I'll hopefully have some videos to cover those days. This is not this week coming, but next week, I should say, the 6th and 7th of April. And Thursday, hopefully I'll be back on a normal schedule. Not entirely sure. It really, really depends on how much I manage to record ahead of time. Like with City Skylines and all those things and all those series, how much I can record ahead will determine what actually goes out on those days. I might even just, as I said, this is what brought me onto the topic of Soul Zero. I might even just do like a couple videos in Soul Zero or something that's not a normal series right now, and just so that we have some content and we're not a dead channel for like 3 or 4 days, or however long it's going to take for me to recover from being on a flying death trap and various other things. And being groped by the TSA, all those things I'll need a few days to recover from. So that's a thing. And but I think that about covers a lot of the games I've been playing. I'll tell you what, the live streams I've highlighted the last Friday's live stream of Battlefield Hardline, and I tweeted out about it so you can see the permanent link to it and all that stuff. I got to tell you, there was for a little while there, while Republic Commando was playing and various other things on my channel, I felt like I was in kind of a rut. This is also sort of what prompted me to put the one game. Oh man, the game name escapes me at the moment. Put that one game on hold for a little bit, just because I just felt like I was in a bit of a rut, and it was. Even though I was having fun, it still felt very samey. There was nothing that was really getting my engine running, getting my motor running. And as corny and as meme-tastic as Battlefield Hardline is, it really did reawaken some of the fun of playing games for me and recording them. So I'm really it's helped out a lot. If there's a noticeable I don't know, attitude shift or whatever in my videos of late, I would say that it's the recent crop of games I've been playing has really sort of reinvigorated me. Even Battlefield Hardline, as corny as that single player campaign is, it's just a whole lot of fun. It's just a whole lot of just ridiculousness that kind of gives you an opening to make all kinds of fun of it and have a great time and just enjoy yourself. And that's I needed that. I really did. I really needed that. It's helped out, I think, tremendously. That, and I'm finally recovering from the changes I made in my life and everything else. So everything's starting to be on the up and up again, and I'm really happy about it. I think that I'm hoping that that's showing through a lot of the stuff that I'm doing as well. A lot of the videos that I'm recording, because I do feel like I'm finally getting out of whatever slump I was in, as far as just playing games that I enjoyed but didn't really feel like I was being very entertaining or anything like that. So that explains that. So that was me. That was a long-winded way of me saying you should probably go watch my video on demand on YouTube, on Twitch, that I highlighted for you guys. There's two of them out there. There's two of them from the from Battlefield Hardline, going through the single player. It's the entire stream. All I did was cut out the first 3 or 4 minutes when I'm doing my mic check and everything else. Other than that, it's just it's straight on through to the other side. All the failures and everything, and all the the cringeworthy jokes and everything else along the way. To the topics at hand here. So there's two topics I had. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. One of them is about VR, and there was a I'll link it to a VG247 article that kind of talks a little bit about the worthiness, I guess you could say, of VR. But it's really more of it's more for background, I guess, as to what's sort of prompting me to have a little discussion here about virtual reality and the Oculus Rift and all the other things, the Steam thing that's coming out, and the PlayStation or Sony thing that's coming out, so on and so forth. Was there a Steam thing? Yeah, there was a Steam VR thing. Yeah. So what really prompted me to want to discuss this is I watched a video, a trailer for Eve Valkyrie, and it's a game that's been on my radar for a long time because it's the kind of game that I really like. A space fighter combat game. Yep, you got me. You got me. I'm right there. The thing that I've always been leery about, though, with it is that they're heavily pushing the VR support in it. And on one hand, it's good because it'll be sort of the first real, I guess, test for the VR stuff. But on the other hand, it sort of has me a little bit depressed. I believe you can play the game without the VR stuff. I have a feeling the game's going to suffer if you don't. Like your experience is going to suffer if you don't. That's my fear. And I'm still on the fence about virtual reality right now. It's not a new concept, right? VR has been around for a while. It's just never been very consumer accessible, right? I mean, I remember VR headsets, from back in the day. You have a wand and you walk around in these very flat shaded cubicle worlds and shoot at other people, at other avatars that were just like spheres walking around. But those were limited to like arcades and stuff like that. They were not consumer oriented or consumer friendly. The Oculus Rift comes along in its Kickstarter bid, and it promises to be, the bee's knees as far as that go, and be, completely accessible to normal consumers. And by and large, it is. I mean, it's like, if I'm not mistaken, like $400 or something like that. So it's still on the high end. But but I could see it being something that could bear fruit. The problem is it going to be just a gimmick, or is it going to actually be the sort of revolution that people are sort of claiming that it's going to be? And that I'm not entirely sure with, because there's a lot of devs that are not, well, maybe not devs, but there's a lot of there's a lot of devs. There's a lot of devs that are sort of putting a whole lot of money down on the table, and they're saying, this is going to be the thing. This is the thing that we need to build for. This is what we need to make games for. And I look at that. I look at some of the more recent things, like you had the Wii with the Wiimote and the Wii controllers, and motion controllers, and then Sony came along with their motion controllers, which I actually have for the PS3. And there were some games that utilized them, but after the initial fad wore off, there was really not a whole lot of games that ended up making good use. Not a whole lot of franchise games that really made good use of those controllers. Even there was a lot of specialty games, but there weren't a lot of the things that you must have, right? It's like, okay, I could go buy the tennis game that came with it, or I could just buy Zelda and not worry about it, that kind of thing, right? It's like do you the tennis thing is good. The tennis thing is good if you're playing with other people in the room, right? And that's a lot of those motion control things were, a lot of the games were oriented around, hey, there's going to be like a couple of you standing around in a circle, and you're going to be participating in this together, kind of thing. And it kind of completely misses the 90% case, right? The 90% case is I'm sitting by myself in front of a TV or in front of a computer, and I just want to play a game and have some fun, right? It's not, I'm going to stand up. Everything's got to be an exercise now. Everything, I need this, or it's not really the 90% case. And I think they figured that out pretty much the hard way, right? It's like, the Wii, as popular as it was, died out almost as quickly, as far as the popularity goes, because there weren't a whole lot of games that actually really utilized the controllers the way that the initial crop did. And so it became a gimmick, really, I feel like. What about the VR stuff? Is the VR stuff going to be a gimmick? Is it going to be something that has more teeth? Well, when I think about the VR stuff, I think about what's the most appropriate games for that kind of thing. And Eve Valkyrie seems like one of the more appropriate games for it, right? It's like space combat, flight sim stuff. Yeah, I could see that being a good candidate for VR stuff. First person shooters, yeah, not really, because your body is not connected to the virtual body, right? So it's probably not going to work out so well. Could you do free running games, first person free running games like that? Again, probably not, because you're still not sort of moving quite right. Your brain knows that something's wrong, right? Because the virtual body that it sees is not moving the way it expects it to move. So it might work for a few minutes at a time, but it would probably end up not being very user friendly, and I could imagine you'd vomit quite a bit, no matter how well designed they make the levels. It'd probably be very uncomfortable to play after a while. And actually, there was an article that came out this week that I don't unfortunately have the link to, but maybe I'll dig it up, and if I remember to. But that talked about the VR headsets and how a lot of people, along the same lines, get simulation sickness from VR, because and they couldn't figure out why. A lot of times it's because there's no frame of reference. There's no frame of reference that isn't moving. And they did a little study, and I think it was I forget what college did the study. I want to say Duke, but I don't know. I don't think it might. No, Purdue maybe. I don't remember which college did it, but it was a university that did a study recently, where they did like a sort of double blind or something, or blind study of people using VR headsets, and they found out that if they put a virtual nose, they project one into your VR headsets, that people who were susceptible to simulation sickness were less susceptible, or had less attacks, fewer attacks than they did without the virtual nose. And they tried very different ways. And in fact, most of the people who were in the study and ended up with the simulation that had a virtual nose in it didn't even realize the nose was there, because again, on your face, you don't always notice your nose too much. I tend to notice mine a lot more because I have a lazy eye, so I get I get kind of a wide angle lens vision a lot of times. When I'm staring at something, I'll end up seeing my nose all the time. It's one of those things where it's particularly bad if I look in a mirror without my glasses on. If I put my glasses on, I'm usually okay. But if I have my glasses off and I look in a mirror, look at myself in the mirror, it becomes very obvious. Like both my eyes just go wacky. You can see the lazy eye. I have a lazy eye on both eyes. So I guess I'm a little bit more used to seeing my own nose than most people are. But it appears that actually helps people out a lot. Well, maybe not a lot. It helped them out 12% better. They did 12% better in the simulations when they had the virtual nose in there. So all that stuff kind of ties into, like, we know there's going to be people that can't use an Oculus Rift because it's just going to hurt them. They're going to get sick from it. So you need a game that's not going to make you very sick from it. And the space combat games, even though you would think that they would make you sick from it, probably have a less likelihood of doing that. And the flight sims probably have a less likelihood of doing that because you always have a point of reference. You have the cockpit that you're sitting in. And since you yourself are sitting down in front of a computer, it kind of feels a little bit better, I guess. My opinion. This is my completely uneducated, unscientific opinion here on this thing. So I can see some of those working. I can't see other things working for it. So the question becomes, is VR going to be just sort of a fad thing, or is it going to be something very viable? And I see a lot of doubling down, like, oh, we're going to use this for everything, and everything should have this, and that's usually not a good sign. This usually means that there's a lot of investment going on behind the scenes. That that a lot of those words are for the investors, not for the actual people who are going to use it, the actual consumers. But I personally, I've thought on many occasions, should I get, an Oculus Rift if it ever becomes available to me? And every time I said nope, no thanks. Even when something like that's right up my alley, like space combat game like Eve Valkyrie, even that I feel like no, I don't really want to invest in a VR headset for that. Even though that would probably make the game even better than it would be without it. I can't see it. I can't see putting something on my face like that. I need to have some kind of awareness of my surroundings, and I can't see that going well either, given that my eyes tend to strain quite a bit So I can't imagine what that would be like when you have two TV sets like plastered inside your eyes. You know, I don't know. I mean, me personally, I don't know how that would work out. I guess I didn't really mention how this all related to that, other than Eve Valkyrie. The trailer that I saw for Eve Valkyrie was actually completely recorded by a person wearing a VR headset, and they just recorded their inputs and used that as the trailer, which was kind of cool. I mean, I could see that being a thing. I could see there being like hey, we're going to record this video using an Oculus Rift, and we're going to, we're going to show you, we're going to be a virtual cameraman or something like that. Like something like that might work. Sort of the, what was that? There was a game called the Movies, back in the day. I still have that. I still have that CD around here. I played very little of it because it ended up not being quite what I was looking for. But it was like, hey, you can, it's a movie theater simulator, or not theater, a movie company simulator, where it's like, hey, you need to make all these movies up in all the different genres, and you hire actors and all that stuff, and then you can like edit the movies and make your own thing. And it wasn't quite as much as that sounds. As cool as that sounds, it really wasn't that great. But I could see them doing something like that, where it's like, we have a game like this where you can record your own movie, and you become the cameraman, and you just walk around with your Oculus Rift on and record stuff. I can see that being a thing. I could see maybe someone being a spectator in an e-sport, if there was an e-sport that was like 3D camera, which I guess would be like a Call of Duty or something like that. I could see somebody being the cameraman wearing an Oculus Rift and using that, since they can probably spin around a lot faster and have more awareness of where they're going. So from that perspective, I think it has a lot of utility perspective. I don't know if it has a lot of game playing appeal though. Like I said, I'm no authority on any of this, but that's just my opinion on that. And I would love to be proven wrong, but I have a feeling that it's one of those fads again. And I guess the only way to know that is to see when we actually have some games that utilize them, which we do now. But once we have some actual, open to the public, production ready, VR headsets, I guess is when we'll actually know whether or not this thing has got legs or not. Beyond just I'm gonna record a YouTube video of me doing this weird thing with the Oculus Rift, playing a Minecraft dropper map with an Oculus Rift on or something like that. So the VG247 article talks about is this going to be a hard sell for consumers or not? And I have a feeling it will be. I really do. I don't think it's going to be as exciting or as popular as a lot of investors and a lot of developers are thinking it will be. I also think that they would be kind of foolish not to explore, in certain genres, not to explore actually supporting them. Just in case. But yeah, I could see, I can't really see that it being that great, which is kind of depressing, right? Because there's some good, we're getting closer to having a holodeck. We're getting a lot closer to it. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close to it. If nothing else, I would say that the Oculus Rift will be the first step, or I should say the VR headsets, because there's a bunch of them being developed now. The VR headsets will be the first step towards probably porn. I would say if porn got behind it, it would be a little bit more popular than it's probably going to be with just gamers. I would say that's my opinion on that. and it may not end up being very popular with porn until you've actually until you actually get like bodysuits and stuff. Although that said, I did read an article. I there's no way I'll find the link to the article, unfortunately, but I did read an article where there's like some porn star somewhere is actually recording their videos in 3D so that you can fly through the video, on the web in 3D. You can see all various angles yourself. You can pick whatever angle you want. That's interesting. Also, I believe they've been doing that as well with who was it? Was it YouTube that had a concert where they now support 3D visual, like moving through a scene in 3D? Was it YouTube? Was it Vimeo? I can't remember who it was. But one of those has it where they're looking to roll out something where you can record. They'll record a concert using the multiple cameras, and then they'll stream it, or was it streaming it or just recording it anyway, in such a way that you can, through the web, just zoom around, sit in whatever seat you want to sit in, and kind of watch it from whatever angle you want to watch it in. It's a brave new world. A brave new world for new stuff going on there. So that was sort of my rant, I guess, or not rant, but my thoughts on VR, because it kind of brought that up when I was looking at like the all the plans that are out there, and everybody and their grandmother's getting on it. Valve is getting on it. I think you've got Oculus getting on it, which is Facebook basically. And there's some talk in one of the articles that was about like, hey, this is more of a social thing. Like, the Oculus Rift is going to be the big social thing. And that's why Facebook was looking at it. I'm like, I can't see that being as social as people are saying. Because there's the fact that even though there might be multiple people standing around in a room, you're all wearing headsets, so nobody can actually see anybody unless there's cameras mounted on them. And even then, you're not really seeing that person the way you would normally see them through your own eyes. So augmented reality and all that stuff, which is making something of a comeback too. I think I've said what I can say on that. I'm getting into I'm almost getting into old man yelling at kids to get off his lawn mode right now, which is not really where I want to be. So speaking of, YouTube and everything else, Google and YouTube, there's some rumors going around, that they are, they're looking to refocus some of their live streaming capabilities on the gamers. So we all know on YouTube that Google and YouTube have never really understood gamers. I mean, that's pretty darn clear, right? Is that they've never really understood gaming, even though it's probably one of the biggest slices of viewership on there. Beyond just the regular blogs and fashion unboxing and fashion stuff, gaming is a pretty significant portion of viewership. I don't have any numbers, but I would imagine it's got to be. It's not the top thing. I can probably say that with some kind of authority. It's not the top thing on YouTube, but I would say it's got a fair share of stuff. And YouTube has never really handled gaming very well. There's no easy way to see all the videos for a particular game like you can on Twitch. There's no things that sort of cater to gaming as much. The Content ID system is just terrible, right? I mean, the Content ID system was there to stop people from uploading music videos. And in the same vein, it now stops like legitimate people from posting, video games that end up having either music in it that you can't help, or that's cutscenes. Like, hey, here's a cutscene in the game that I have no control over, but now I can't. There's a video claim on my content ID claim on that video because someone else has abused the CMS in YouTube. That kind of thing. So it's never felt like it's been a very a good place for it, and they haven't been openly hostile, but they haven't been very supportive either to a lot of the game channels. And I think the fact that a lot of gaming channels have so many subscribers now, even though subscriber numbers mean absolutely nothing as far as YouTube is, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that they mean nothing. It's still, I think it's finally on their radar. I think what really put it on their radar is the fact that Twitch got bought by Amazon for $1 billion, and Google attempted to give them $1 billion as well, and they decided not to go with Google. They went with Amazon, which actually was probably a better solution than going with Google in the long term. But it's I think Twitch has put all of the investors and all the naysayers, I think, has kind of made them go, oh wait, this company just got bought for $1 billion. What is going on? This is apparently a thing now. This is a thing. We didn't think this was a thing, and it is in fact a thing. And I think that sort of put the whole scene, I guess you could say, on the map, on the radar. And now everybody's like, me too, me too, me too. And to be fair, YouTube has had a live stream capability for a while now. It's just, I don't know of too many people that actually use it for various reasons, mostly because there have been incidences in the past where YouTube's Content ID has actually blocked streams in progress. That's a big thing for people on Twitch who, they have these VODs out there, and the VODs get muted because of the, music that happened in the background. There was a big hubbub about that, and a lot of YouTubers went, hey, welcome to our world, to all those people that made a hubbub about it. But the thing that makes it worse for a live stream is that you have no editorial control over that usually. It's out there, right? You've live streamed, it's live recorded, so it's like you've recorded directly to tape. There's no take backies, right? So in many ways, it's a lot less fair. Whereas if I get a Content ID hit, I can just take the video back down and re-edit it, which is a pain in the neck. To be fair, it would be nice if I could have some sort of web service that would check my video before I upload it, so that I could, know ahead of time and edit it further that way. But, it's the power that requires much more power than any computer will have here, and much more database access and everything else. It ended up taking longer that way than it would to just do the upload and hope that everything went well, and then if it doesn't, then redo another upload would take. But it's I think so. As the point I was making there is that if I remember correctly, and my memory may not be what it should be, but if I remember correctly, the Star Citizen devs, when they were having the 1-year anniversary of their Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign, they did a live stream on YouTube, and right towards the end of that live stream, to celebrate that 1 year, they start to sing Happy Birthday. And Happy Birthday is a copywritten song. Yes, believe it or not, it is. And the live stream got terminated by YouTube in progress because of that song. So that to me raises big questions, right? Because I don't like having all my eggs in one basket. I'm sure most people don't either, right? There are people who just do Twitch and that's it. But there are people who do both Twitch and YouTube, and I don't think there's a whole lot that would switch over to YouTube given the opportunity, because you are kind of putting all your eggs in one basket. Two, there have been those instances, like I said, where they've live blocked a stream that had something in it that they didn't quite like. And that would be, that has like a chilling effect, right? It's like, if I don't want my stream right in the middle to just suddenly get muted, right? Because something's going on that I have no control over, right? So that's not cool. That's one of the appeals to Twitch. Even though the VODs get muted, at least the streams themselves don't. So if you manage to catch a stream as it's in progress, you get the full benefits of that. All that said, the problems that I have with Twitch are that the quality just is terrible, like absolutely freaking terrible. Especially when I've streamed a little bit on Hitbox, and if I go over on Hitbox right now, I can get 2 seconds delay instead of 20 to 50 to 60 seconds of delay that you get on between what I've uploaded and what's going live on Twitch, right? So you get a finer granularity of interaction with viewers. You get HD right out of the bat, and it looks beautiful. It's like perfect, right? There's none of that pixelization or any of that crap going on. And the partnership terms over there are a little bit more relaxed, from what I understand. Although I would never look at the partnership anyway, than they are on Twitch, right? The problem is, the reason I don't stream more over there is because the integrations, right? Twitch has been around long enough that there's a lot of things that have integrated with it, like Nightbot to do my moderating, my chat moderating, and various other things like updating my status and everything else directly from the IRC chat. Being able to connect to the chat via IRC, using Hex Chat for that, which often ends up with me getting a little bit confused sometimes because I see all this. Because, I don't see the emoticons. I see, Bible Thump. And I'm like, why do they keep saying Bible Thump? Oh, and then I look over on the other screen and I'm like, oh, I get it. Okay. So that sometimes will cause me a little bit of confusion, but it's still better than, having to switch between two different views and having your browser open while you're doing that and all that stuff. It's just, those integrations like that. Also, Twitch, is integrated with a lot of like TVs now and various other devices, so people can watch Twitch streams on their TVs and everything else. Whereas, these other streaming services don't have that. So it adds, all that sort of adds up to, even though it's a crappier experience overall, it adds up to something that's a little bit more robust at the end of the day. And so Twitch you end up just living with the fact that your stream's always going to look like ass. And, unless there's thousands of people in there, and your VODs are always going to get muted in some way, shape, or form. And you just end up putting up with that stuff. YouTube has an advantage in that, with the VOD thing, in that, right now it's they've got all the tools necessary to edit and to, save and do playlists and do all the various customizations you want to do, have like a little channel thing going on, so on and so forth, and have that all in one package. So on that end, they've got it made there. Plus, you've got a mix of not only the live streams, but also pre-recorded stuff, right? So somebody can just do everything, and it's just a one-stop shop at that point. But from what I understand, The downfalls of that live streaming that YouTube does right now is their chat is terrible, which Twitch chat's not much better, but I mean, as in the chat is like broken at times, from what I understand, and they don't, they don't have as much of it. It's hard to discover streams that are currently going on, which I'm assuming is something that they would want to do. It's something that one of the good things about Twitch being focused on games, or at least used to be focused on games, is that they could set up their site in such a way that it's easy to find a stream of a game that you care about. You just go on the site and go, I want to find everything that is, everybody who's playing Minecraft, and bam, there's all your streams of people playing Minecraft and how many people are watching and so on and so forth. YouTube, not so easy. Not so easy, because they're like, just Google it. Just Google it. And so you get all the various quality stuff that goes on with that, trying to find things and trying to make sure you jumped into the middle of a playlist. You want to see the first episode? Good luck. You want to see, you want to skip ahead 10 episodes? Good luck. Right? It's just their playlists are kind of weird, and the navigation is not quite there, at least for games, or the way games are concerned. It's one of the things that I like about GameWisp a lot, is that because they're focused on gaming, they can do their navigation a little bit better, and they can tie it around the way you play games and the way series go on and so so forth. And YouTube had for a little while the concept of a series that you could subscribe to, and then they dropped it. I very strange stuff. They just out and out dropped it. And that would be perfect for gaming and stuff. And maybe they'll bring that back when they refocus themselves for the live streaming and things. But given all that, I don't think that YouTube is going to be able to do it better than Twitch did, even though Twitch is just, again, the quality of Twitch is subpar on the best of days. I don't feel like YouTube, even though YouTube has the backing of Google and all the hardware of a small nation that they could throw at it, I'm sure their stream quality will be a lot better. I don't know if all the tools around it will be any better than what they have now, which is kind of the whole point. It's also a little. I don't know. I guess not to harp on it too much, but YouTube to me has always felt like this is where you go when you want to see something that's already been, well, not already been done, but this is where you want to go when not when you want to see something live, but when you want to see something that's heavily edited, say, or maybe not heavily edited, but put some sort of editing into it. And I feel like a lot of people like Twitch, a lot of content producers like Twitch because they don't like to edit things. And I'll be fair, I don't really like editing that much either, and I don't do a whole lot of editing, except when really necessary. And a lot of YouTubers that I follow don't do a whole lot of editing either. But I can see where people are coming from when they're like, no, I really want to see edited videos. I don't really want to see live streams so much. So I feel like if YouTube were to do this, they would have to make it somewhat separate. There'd have to be a way for people to, I don't know, see. They can't clutter sub boxes with it, I guess is what I'm getting at. There has to be some other tab there. And I mean, already sub boxes are kind of broken in various ways as it is. So it's just, one more thing on that is not really what you want there. You want to find a different mechanism to, you want to promote the streams, but at the same time you need to find a different mechanism to do it. And honestly, and here's the cynical part of me, the problem that all of these things have, like Twitch, Hitbox, well, maybe not Hitbox so much, but Twitch and YouTube and all that stuff is, if you're a small-time player, you are never getting the benefit of the doubt. Like, the only people they ever promote, the only people you see that get tweets about from Twitch, like, hey, look at this guy's stream, he's doing this and doing that, are people who are already drawing lots of viewers and probably don't need that, right? They're only promoting the people that actually don't need promotion, usually. They're not really promoting the people that actually could benefit from that. And that's not me being salty or anything like that. That's just me being realistic, right? It's like, I know where I sit on the totem pole, and I have no problems with, being a nothing. But there are plenty of other people who are fairly decent at this thing and could probably be very good, if they just were discovered. Right? They could probably do really well for themselves if they had some sort of discovery, and they never get discovered. Or if they do, they have to do it in a way that is not sustainable for them. Like, hey, I'll play this horror game, even though I don't really like horror games, but I'll play it because this is the way I get discovered. And then once I get discovered, I could go do whatever I want. And then they find out that, no, you really can't, because all your people that found you want more of the thing that you don't like to do. And it's just that vicious cycle, right? I don't even know how I got off on this tangent. To be honest with you, I was talking about streaming, and now I'm talking about vicious cycles. Way off into the weeds here. But all that said, good for Google on being late to the game again. Maybe some good things will come out of it. Maybe they will, while they're looking at how to do their live streaming in such a way that it will work for gaming, maybe they'll figure out other ways of making YouTube itself proper work well for gamers instead of being against them. I could imagine that there would be a situation where some good things come out of this. I don't think their live streaming will ever take off. To be honest with you, I feel like you need to, in order to unseat Twitch, you need to be better than Twitch. And YouTube is late to the game, and YouTube has never been very friendly to gamers. So that's a mountain that I don't think that they can surmount, unless they manage to get some very popular person to come over and make it their home, or esports or something like that. I mean, let's be honest. As far as Twitch goes, if they lost the support of some esports, federations or whatever, Twitch would die just as easily as anybody else, because they do live and die by esports. And I think the esports aspect of it is what's really driving the valuation of the streams, right? Is because people see all this money exchanging hands for esports, and they go, oh, well, what do these guys do? And they're like, oh, they do live streaming. Oh, and all this stuff is being live streamed. Oh, look at all these people on the live stream that could be watching advertisements while this is going on, and all these potential customers. And I think that's really the heart of what's driving it, which is why it makes it so painful to see Twitch doing like. So there was Justin TV, which never took off, which never did anything, right? And they had that. They could have rebranded that. They could have made that a thing. But instead, they're bringing Justin TV one piece at a time over to Twitch now. It's like, oh, now, hey, you want to do a live stream? Like, it used to be you could only live stream games. But now it's like, well, no, we got music now. Hey, you want to see music? We're doing that now. And it's, there was a time and a place for that. And you got rid of it because nobody went there. Now is the time to, spin that stuff off as a different name and see if it takes off. But I maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe that will become Amazon Live or something like that. And maybe they're just putting it on Twitch now for the time being, just to make it popular, and then say, oh, by the way, now you want to see all this stuff? Now it's back over here now. That being said, that all seems like it was a stipulation by their new Amazon overlords. Like, you must now support all this stuff because this is stuff that people can buy in Amazon. People can buy music, so you now must support music because you are now part of the Amazon cloud, as it were. So as much as I loathe the fact that they're sort of expanding outwards in weird and crazy ways, it's I can see probably where that came from, and I don't think it came from a willing party. I think it came from a person who has a lot of stake in the company and wishes to increase the valuation of of Amazon in the process of doing that. So moral of the story, I don't think Twitch is going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think Twitch has really had any real competition yet. If you really want to compete with them, you've got to do it better than what they're doing. Hitbox has got some better ideas as far as like, hey, you can actually have some high quality streaming here. If they had the kind of volume that Twitch had, I would assume that they would probably fall back to the same problems that Twitch has and have just streams that are just poor and not even HD quality, not even close to it. But I feel like that's what you need. You need something that is going to be better than what they have. You need a high quality stream from the get-go, regardless of whether you have whether you're a partner or not. Have relatively easy to obtain partner benefits. The subscription model is probably the way of the future, the way things are going to go. You'll need as much chat as you can get. You'll need a robust chat. You'll need all the integrations that you can get your hands on, that you can shake a stick at. You'll need the discoverability that Twitch gives you, and you'll need to take that one step further and say, the promotion of actual people who need the promotion, not of people who already have a following and don't need that necessarily. And any other long-standing bugs with Twitch that have annoyed people to hell and back, you would need to do better. And it just needs to be, you need to get an HTML5 player instead of the Flash BS that's out there. All those things are achievable. I don't know what form that they would have to take in order to unseat Twitch. Although, Hitbox had a golden opportunity that they let slip by, where people were very upset about the VOD changes with VODs getting muted on Twitch, and probably still are to a certain extent, although they're they're dealing with it. And they had a perfect opportunity there that they could have capitalized on and brought a lot of people over, but they didn't. So it is what it is. But I assume that more things like that are going to kind of start cropping up as time goes on, and especially if they keep expanding outward like they are with various other genres that are anything but gaming. Since really there was a whole model up to this point, which is gaming and gamers. I don't think YouTube will be the one that unseats them. Honestly, I don't think Google has it. I don't think they really understand what they have. And I wish, like most other people, I wish that there was a competitor to YouTube that was as good or better, well, much better, just to have some sort of competition there. It's a good thing that Google did not buy them, because there would be a huge monopoly on that spot right now. Did not buy Twitch, that is. But at the same time, there's only really two big players right now, and it's Amazon and it's Twitch. Well, it's Amazon and it's Google and it's Netflix, right? And a little sliver of Hulu, right? For the online streaming entertainment genre, right? Beyond that, it's slim pickings. So some sort of competition in the future would be very nice. I would think. I just don't know what form that would take, or what form it would need to take in order to be successful. That is the crux. That is the crux of the situation there. But I think I have droned on quite enough for one video here, more than enough for one video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. More to come. Very, very busy right now. Lots of things to record. Continuing to record as much as I possibly can, as quickly as I can, and as efficiently as I can. And thank you so much for watching, everybody. And I will see you next Sunday.